Before we can get our mixes sounding loud and good, we really need to know what kind of potential damage these limiters and such may be causing. And this is something I think I was really afraid of when I was younger, as I wouldn't push a limiter into distortion just to hear it. I was almost like, don't go there, don't go down that dark alley. And now I've just kind of embraced the damn thing, and I'm not afraid of it at all. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull down that mix again, and we're gonna just listen to it all screwed up. And I've got my favorite mode of Ozone 5 on here, which is just a clipping mode, and which seems to be the least clipping by my ears, but that's another story, I guess. Anyway, so we're gonna hit play, and I'm just gonna start nuking it, and we're gonna listen to it until we get used to what the sound of a limiter that's complaining is, because when we start to memorize what a complaining limiter does and how that sounds, its little trademark cues, then whenever we hear that in the mix, especially in a more subtle way, which hopefully it will be really subtle, but when we start hearing that, we go, ooh, the limiter's getting worked too hard, and then we'll know how to deal with it. So let's just hit play here and tear this thing up. Does anyone else feel like they're at a rock concert? No, just me. Crickets chirping. For me, that sounds like my ears going crazy at like a Slayer show or something where it's just ridiculously loud. Probably the loudest band I ever saw was Slayer. But anyway, that's just crazy amounts of distortion. Now, you will never push a mix that hard, most likely. Although, I gotta say, there's something kind of cool about it. I'm a real big believer in that when things are a little bit crappy, they're just crappy. But then when they get really crappy, they get fun again. And that got really crappy, and so it was almost fun. But anyway, all right, so I'm going to back off this thing, and again, we're just going to study it. We're just going to learn what Ozone here, Ozone 5, is doing to our signal. We want to get a feel for that. We want to memorize this kind of nastiness. Okay, keep playing. And that's the other thing. Our ears are so relative. We already forgot what the clean thing sounded like. And if I turn this limiter off, we'd all go boring. But there is an exciting element to this loud stuff, and I don't think that should ever be discounted. It does something to a mix sometimes. Something about making a mix that dense, I think. I don't know. But all right, so we went from minus 20 to minus 14. We get backed off 7 decibels, and it's still distorted. There's no denying that. But it seems relatively like it's okay compared at least to the minus 20. So let's listen to minus 20 again and then get acclimated to something more like minus 14. All right, skipping to the vocals again. Okay, so there are a few elements that are pretty damn terrible, but the mix as a whole, it's not world-endingly bad. And that's what's really strange here. And I guess I have different thresholds on that. This kind of sounds like we're listening to a broken antenna FM radio or something. So, which I don't consider a world ender. I consider listening to terrible music on a listening to Train on a $10,000 stereo is torture. But anyway, what I heard was staticky stuff when the vocals dig in, for sure. There's spots where, and it's not good. I think that's the biggest factor to learn here. We hear distortion frequently. It's all over the radio. It's all over your favorite CDs. But there's good distortion. I mean, obviously guitars and stuff like that are, fairly pleasing sound. But then there's distortion that's just ick. It just makes you like not want to live. And we're hearing some of that, and I'm hearing that on the electric guitars especially, and it's not all the time, but the high gain guitars that are panned hard can do a lot of that sort of thing. We'll get into all those details later on in the series. But again, I just wanted to kind of show you what you can expect by just destroying a mix with a limiter. Before we jet on this particular video, I want to go ahead and turn the maximizer back on, and let's just tear it up. And let's see if there's anything different about it. And this is kind of like when we're using compressors. Abusing them is a good way to learn what they can do for you or against you. But here we go. I still think there's something cool about this sound. I may be doing some mixes like this. I have to find a crazy band that would want to do it. But anyway, so this is it sounds a little different, but it's the same concept. It's the same kind of fizz, which is kind of illuminating in itself. A lot of these limiters are just the same basic stuff, give or take. Okay, so that concludes this video, where we're moving on.